in Florida, a black surfer says that he
Oh,
was
I love this one.
subject to a what was it, a surfboard lynching,
Yeah, a symbolic lynching
a
of his.
symbolic lynching. So I was reading this earlier, and this guy is in Jupiter, Florida, a popular Jupiter Beach, a popular surfing destination. And he says he was told he was not welcome. And he said they nailed his surfboard to a palm tree. Where's the photo of it here? There it is. They nailed his surfboard to a palm tree. He called it a lynching. Of course, they didn't nail people. Horrible as lynching was, they didn't nail people. They hung them. So he's a little bit
They said
factually.
MAGA country. They
He
pulled
should have
Lynch
said.
on me.
He should have said crucified his surfboard, but that wasn't racially charged. And he said this is how the real racism and hate is in Jupiter, Florida, from his account, Black Surfers. But people, there he
That's not
is
his
looking.
account. Just because I
Oh,
looked
okay.
into, I did a little bit of research on this because I just thought it was so bizarre.
Well, he's saying it's racist, of course, but they interviewed some other people who said it wasn't racist at all. And this is where it starts to fall apart. They said it has nothing to do with your race either, it has to do with your etiquette. One told him, "You obviously do not seem to understand that still. No one is after you, man. None of us are racist." But he said this happened after I was physically pushed around in the water by two dudes grabbing my board and a third guy screaming, "Get off our beach. You're not welcome here," and the rest of it. And one of the things that I found odd, Eric, that poked a hole in his story is that Venus Williams lives there, who I get the tennis player, Serena Williams' older sister, who's amazing at women's tennis, but not quite as good as Serena Williams. She moved there and she got enough money to live wherever she wants. So for this to be true and her surfing there, it would
Well,
have
I
to.
don't.
Why would she choose this racist place to live, Eric? Is my question. When she's a famous black woman and she chooses a racist place to live when she can afford to live pretty much anywhere?
Yeah. Well, that's the simple. That's the simple answer, right? I mean, that's sound logic, Andrew. That makes sense.
Well,
Um,
what about this one?
but
Before you say that, he did not call the police, but took the board down, stayed and surfed the whole day with a small board to show face. A few locals that were there apologized and agreed that it was wrong. They didn't agree that it was racist, and the police department said it is investigating. So you think these are so racist there that you don't call the cops and have these people charged with a hate crime? If this was somebody who said, "I'm going to do this because this guy's black and we don't want black people here," that is an obvious hate crime, theft, and hate and desecration of their property, and
no.
an obvious hate crime, but you
There's no
don't call
such.
the police. You don't want to charge people who are this mean, Eric. I don't get it.
Well, first of all, there is no such thing as a hate crime. It's not real,
Well,
right?
legally there is.
That yeah, there's a lot of weird legal things that are not real. Like there's climate laws on the book. I mean,
It's
there's a lot of
committing a
stuff that's
crime
not.
with also being mean. Is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And look, before I mean, many years ago when I was in college, not not because I grew up conservative or I grew up, we used to make fun of hate crimes. Like my back in the day, my roommate used his quote unquote rap name was Hate Crime. Like it was a joke, and we all knew it was a joke. And we weren't politically active. We weren't talking about Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or any of the or the governor or any whatever was going on at the time. We didn't talk about any of that, but we did know at our young age that a hate crime was stupid, right? So yes, what you're saying about Venus Williams makes perfect sense, obviously. But it does get better because I took the liberty to go into Instagram and look at the account Black Surfers. And of course, they are sort of this weirdo, agenda driven surfing account. Or maybe they're not agenda driven, but they just don't know what's going on. Maybe they smoke pot all day and they surf all day and they don't know what's going on. So when somebody says, "Oh, black surfer," they just look and maybe they've been out of the loop for the past decade. Who knows? But they say white supremacy is a sickness, a vile thing that rears its head in so many ways. Yeah, click the click that. Can we take a look at that there? So they do their whole little spiel, but then they actually pin a comment from the guy what's his name? Sherlock Brown, Sherlock Down, whatever. I forget his real name, but he literally says he writes this whole long paragraph that I will sum it up for you. That
Oh my
I've met lots of great people in Jupiter, Florida, including people, or I've met lots of great people in Florida waters, including people in Jupiter. I did apologize for losing my cool at their beach. So he's apologizing for something he knows he did wrong. And people were saying he was, if you read all of the comments, I didn't read every single one, but I read a lot of them, that he was, I don't surf, so I don't know the etiquette, but he was kind of overbearing people and getting too close to people in the water and like almost knocked over some kids or something. So if he's not directly from the area, what I would compare it to is growing up, I went to the same golf course every day, right? If some outsider comes in and starts hitting his driver while you're still in the fairway, you'd be like,
god.
bro, cool it. Or there's a bunch of etiquette things, right? Like if you're on the putting green and somebody starts intruding on you, you say cool it. So that's what I took from it, is that this guy is out there in the waves. He's not giving people the proper space. He's getting
Mm-hmm.
he's encroaching on children and stuff. Somebody told him about it. He lost his cool. He apologized for losing his cool and then said, I felt more accepted by the end of the day after I took the surfboard down. So all of this to say, I flew off the handle. I called it racist. I took the surfboard down, and it wasn't really racist after all. But that story will never get told because now we got Vlad TV and all of these people, Daily Mail or whatever, posting that a black, and people in Miami or in Florida, they know the deal, bro. Like, yeah, are there some weirdo people? Sure, there are weird Nazis in Orlando marching over a bridge with their swastika signs, supporting Joe Biden and the Nazi regime in Ukraine. Sure, but is this guy a victim of racism? Absolutely not.
I like how they Googled person being beat with billy club at beach or something like that. There's no context. Maybe it is a racist event, but there's no context there at all. I think, Eric, that this makes you a gigantic wuss if you did this, because if you take out the claim of racism, let's just say he went to the beach and guys nailed his board, and then they're the same race. They nailed his board to a tree. This is just you posting online about how other dudes were mean to you. It makes you
But
look
it
like
turns out you were the jackass first, anyways.
yeah, but to seek attention for this and to go online and be like, guys were mean to me, it makes you a complete and total bitch. Like if I went to go play basketball, which I'm known to do, basketball jersey on, and I come home and I go on my Instagram or my Twitter and I say these guys were mean. Even let's even say it was racist, because there have been black guys that I've played against in basketball who they call you white boy, they call you whatever. It just happens. And let's say I went home and I said this group of black guys said that I suck at basketball. Happened to me 100 times in my life. And I'm posting about it and I'm like, this is what
And it turns out you
racism
actually do suck, so they were right the whole time.
this is what racism in basketball looks like, guys. 5 guys who are better than me in this sport were mean to me. We've got so much work to do as a community. It makes you look like a total loser. So even if we took that out of this, all you're saying on the basis of this is guys were mean to me. Give me sympathy. It's the male equivalent of here's my ass, but don't judge me. That's what it is. This is what it is. It's a wussy guy going online and complaining because he wants attention. This is not a man. If somebody is racist to you and they did this insane racist crime to you, then get them charged with a hate crime or fight them or do something. Do something other than go online and cry about it. Like, this is the crybaby economy. And I'm so glad, Eric, in case you didn't watch UFC last night, that Sean Strickland is the champion now, because he is a guy. He beat Israel Adesanya. Nothing to do with race. I'm just glad he's the champion because he calls everything out. We're in this timeline now where Sean O'Malley and Sean Strickland, couple of Seans, no coincidence there, are now UFC champions at 2 guys who call everything out and are not offended by anything at the exact right time that the world needs this. We now have two champions who are going to be forced to be interviewed by the media and call everything fake and gay. That's what's going to happen. And this is what we need right now in a world where adult men are, oh, people
But
were mean to me. I
but
don't
why
buy
is
it. I don't like it.
but why? I mean, how could you be so desperate, right? Everybody knows kind of
Because
like
it's
what the
give me
deal.
money. Black dot surfers want money and attention and followers.
Yeah. No,
Just
you're
like
right. You're right.
Andrew dot Eric wants money and followers.
Yeah. It's just it's pretty. I mean, are they really this far out? Are they so desperate? Or are they so out of the loop that they really think that people, specifically in Florida, are going to say, "Oh, what? Those surfers are just so rude." I mean, dude, everybody knows. Everybody knows if you peel one layer off of this onion, it's going to be a completely different story. And yeah, this guy's absolutely pathetic. And shout out to Vlad TV, who has built this entire, because this is where I actually first heard about the story. So Vlad TV posted twice in one day that Derrick Rose was playing chess on his iPhone while he was at a Drake concert. Twice. So Vlad is just pounding the pavement. But when it comes down to it, remember he said, he used to do Scott Adams interviews all the time, like him and Scott Adams and Boozy. And he used to have some regulars on his platform. And when Scott Adams said the exact same thing that a black activist said, right? We can get in the weeds about how that black activists want to have separate graduations and separate neighborhoods and all this, even Killer Mike and all sorts of things. But as soon as a white guy says it, who literally says the same thing, he's like, "Oh, I'm never going to talk to Scott Adams again." Okay, bro. And Scott Adams he is sitting atop a huge pile of FU money, Vlad. He was helping you out. But neither here nor there. I also wanted to note, I'm looking at my Google homepage here, and it's just funny that our third decade of climate action, it's like it never stops, bro. Climate, racism, trannies, gays, it's just through the roof. Yeah, it's through the roof.
Turn it up, Jordan.